Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Winging It F1 podcast, 70th anniversary podcast. Not 70th anniversary of Winging It yet, but 70th anniversary British Grand Prix and 70th anniversary of F1 Championship Racing. So we'll be looking back today at some of our favourite moments from all the years of F1 that have gone before us. And yeah, we're looking forward to seeing what people come up with. But I'm Adam and I'm here with Freddie and Nigel. How are you both?
Yeah, doing good today. Looking forward to discussing some F1 history. It's a topic I love, really. Lots of books on it.
Freddie's definitely the master out of us three when it comes to F1 history, that's for sure.
So Nigel, how are you? Are you just...
Oh, yeah, I'm fine, yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah, I'm all right. If I wasn't all right,
Nigel's just depressed.
We shouldn't laugh at that, really. But yeah, so we just laugh at it.
No, not now. Jeez, Adam.
This is great,
podcast.
We'll be looking back at some of our favourite stop laughing moments.
I bet you should do it again. Do it again.
Well, to be fair, yeah. Do you reckon we could cut it from...
Put that depression a bit in.
No, but like, before you say... Before we bring up, I can't even remember who it was that brought up depression, but
you didn't have to ask me how I'm feeling. You could have just stopped it.
You said, "How are you doing?" We both said something. And Nigel spoke, and you go, "And how are you then, Nigel?"
Well, do you reckon we can cut it out of that, or do we need to go again?
Do it again.
It was all right until you asked me, how am I?
It was quite funny. We probably could have kept it in, but
yeah. Oh well, it'll be.
We don't have a good edit point now, so we've got to do it again.
No. Oh, for fuck's sake! Right.
This Zoom's going to run out, isn't it?
Okay. Right. I'm ready when you are. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Winging It F1 podcast 70th anniversary edition. Not the 70th anniversary of Winging It yet, but the 70th anniversary British Grand Prix. To celebrate, we'll be looking at some of our favourite moments from F1 since 1950, when the first championship race was held at Silverstone, and yeah, kind of what stands out to us over that time. But I'm Adam, and I'm here with Freddie and Nigel. How are you both?
Yeah, I'm doing good. I'm looking forward to getting into discussing some history of F1. I love history, and I love F1. I love that topic. It's just great. I really enjoy it.
Yeah, same as Freddie, really.
So, and we'll be looking at some of our favourite overtakes, races, cars, stories, and also some of the more unlucky drivers who didn't, some of the best drivers to not win a championship or a race. But yeah, well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys both think and what your guys' takes are. We both kind of we all came into F1 at similar times, Freddie a bit before, but yeah, and I guess all got kind of different agendas and things we like in F1. So I think there'll be a lot of good discussion and difference of opinion, hopefully.
Hopefully, I think so. I think we're all going to come up with something different. I've looked through my list and it is a bit bonkers. I've got quite a few suggestions. I need to whittle it down as we go. So, yeah, I look forward to seeing what you guys have come up with, because there's just so much to think of. It'll be brilliant.
Yeah, I think Freddie's got quite a few shortlists for each position, so that'll be fun seeing him whittle that down live.
I'll try not to be too infuriating, dear listener. I've already done it.
So, what is your favourite all-time car? F1 car, not road car.
I have gone for the 2004 Ferrari, because that is the car that I have my first memories of F1 about, I guess. Michael Schumacher in the red Ferrari. And yeah, that car, I know some of the lap records have been beaten by recent cars, this year and last year. But back then, V10 engines were pushing every single lap. It was just yeah, that's the car I associate my first memories with F1. So I've gone with that one, 2004 Ferrari.
I don't know if Freddie is looking for something, so I'll give him a bit more time to do that if he is. I was pretty torn on this. I was thinking the McLaren. So when I first started F1, it was 2007, and I do still
23.
really like the chrome McLaren. So the MP4 22 and 23 to start off with. And yeah, just the kind of smaller cars then, I do kind of really like that. But I went for one that's got a bit more of a story behind it, or a good story, rather than they ripped it off another T. And I went for the Braun BGP 001,
Nice.
which I
Very
do. I like it. I don't kind of like it as much as some other car liveries, but you know, it's I think it's
unique,
nice
isn't it?
design. And yeah, just the story behind it of a team that thought they were all jobless, you know, in December, and then came back and won, you know, won the championship, won both championships, and will probably never be done again. And I just think that's kind of one to go for. And I was honourable mention to the Red 5 Williams, because that's just beautiful.
That leads on nicely to my split decision, which was the Red 5 FW14B, which is an insane car. And it's the most complicated and the most developed and the most technologically advanced car in F1 history, with active suspension developed for it, traction control and everything. The computer in that car has basically defined the car industry since. And it won. And it was beautiful. But I'm also split because of what Nigel said. Similarly, the F2004, the Ferrari, from that
Is
kind
that
of
one
time.
behind you, Freddie? Or
That's
is
not an
that different?
F2004. That is an F1 2000. That's the first.
Stop, Nigel.
That's the first. Yeah. So for audio, I've got a poster on my wall of Schumacher's first title car with Ferrari. But yeah, that period of Ferrari car anyway just is amazing. So I'm split between the 2004 Ferrari and I'll go with the Williams, the FW14B Williams.
That's nice. Get some representation. I never I've never been too much of a fan of the kind of Schumacher Ferraris. I don't know, just kind of their appearance.
You don't like Schumacher, isn't it?
Yeah. But I love Barrichello, so I don't know where that's come from. No, I don't know. It's just never kind of not. I like the was it the 1990 Ferrari? And the one with gold wheels is.
Oh yeah, the 1990 Ferrari, I think, is in
Prost. Yeah.
Yeah, the one he was taken out of by Suzuka by Senna right at the start of the race. The Ferrari car from that year, one of them, is the only Formula One car. I think Formula One car might be racing car in an art museum in New York. I think it's in the Met.
Oh, there you go.
Beautiful car.
And on that tangent, our favourite bonkers story from F1 in the history. There's been a lot. There was one last weekend with Lewis crossing the line with three wheels on his wagon, but I don't know if any of us have gone for that. Does anyone want to go first, or I can go first if people want? Okay, that's good. So I went for Jaguar losing a diamond on their car. So it was for Monaco, I think 2004, but I didn't note that down, so I'm going to go back up to the thing I had up. But they had a deal with 2004. They had a deal with Ocean's 12, and part to kind of promote it. I guess a bit like the way that Red Bull had 007 on their wings last year at Silverstone, but instead of having the name on their car, or as well as having the name on their car, they put a diamond, $300,000 worth diamond on the nose of their car and put it around Monaco, which is one of the most difficult and dangerous in terms of car damage tracks on the calendar, if not the most dangerous, and they lost it. So,
the car went headfirst into the barrier, didn't it?
Was it Christian Clean, or have I? No, I think it was. But again, but yeah, they went headfirst into the barrier, and just never found it. Yeah, it was
Either some
Krispy
lucky
Kreme, but-
Marshall or some
Yeah, yeah.
has,
Always-
is now on his yacht watching the Grand Prix
Yeah.
and on his Marshall post.
Yeah, so I just really like that. There are a few more I could have gone for, but yeah, that was the one I chose to go with. What did you go for?
I went for the 1982 Formula One season. Just
Wow.
as a
Okay.
whole. It was
11 different winners, wasn't it?
11 different winners. Keke Rosberg won the championship, winning one race. I think at the time it had one of the closest finishes in history, with basically Elio De Angelis and Keke Rosberg side by side to the line at Austria. And it started with a driver's strike, which I think that's the sort of headline bonkers side of it. Because you've got all the drivers, you've got the FISA FOCA war, FISA being essentially the FIA's and the lawmaking body. And then you've got FOCA, which is the Formula One Constructors Association, which is the teams, which is when the whole it was sort of the height of the us and them teams situation. And they introduced all these changes to the super license from FISA, and basically saying that the drivers were then sort of, I think, they're contracted to the sport in some weird way that would really prohibit them changing teams, basically. And they didn't like that. They liked their individuality, did the drivers. So they went on strike, and all of them, apart from, I think, one, holed up in a hotel room overnight and didn't go to the track. And I think they were entertained by Gilles Villeneuve and Elio De Angelis being able to play the piano.
Oh, right. I thought he was going to say something else then. No.
Not having a bus stop.
I'll move on to mine then.
Yeah.
The 1977 German Grand Prix saw a driver called Hans Heyer.
Oh,
He was
yeah.
driving for the Penske ATS
Yeah.
team. And he did not qualify for the German Grand Prix because in those days, only a certain number of cars could qualify or you had to be fast enough. But he decided to go out and join the race anyway. And then somehow he was allowed, and he did 9 laps until his car broke down because of a gearbox problem. And he's the only driver to have a DNQ, so did not qualify, a DNF, and a disqualification ever. And that is absolutely incredible. And apparently the marshals knew about him. They all just turned their backs and let him drive out of the pit lane and join the race. Incredible.
1977. It's so late in the development of F1 as well. It's brilliant, that. I love that. That's a good one.
I was kind of tempted, but I feel like it's a bit too, I don't know, standard maybe. But the 76 Japanese Grand Prix, in terms of just kind of what a roller coaster that would have been to be at, and kind of obviously immortalised in the film Rush, but
The race that
Niki
sold
Lauda.
F1 to the world.
Niki Lauda only has to get 3 points, was it, or kind of, James Hunt was close, and he pulled out because he didn't think it was safe, and then Hunt looked like he'd get it, and then had to pit and looked like he wouldn't, and then he passed 3 cars, I think, in the last couple of laps or a few laps, and won. I just think that's kind of incredible story. And as you say,
won the race.
it changed F1 because it was the first one to be kind of televised worldwide. And that's obviously started off the
globalization of the championship.
That's the one. I was thinking of something big, but all I could think of was Godzilla, so that didn't really help much. So I've gone off the rails a bit there. But moving on, or do you have any preference? Okay, best driver, a pretty easy one, I imagine. Best driver to never win a championship.
See, for me, with this, I've taken Sterling Moss, the late great Sir Sterling Moss, as red, really, and I think we can all pretty much say, Sterling Moss is probably the best to never win the title. I'm also going to throw in. I've got 2 other drivers written down here, and I don't know which one to do. They're both from the same sort of time: David Coulthard or Juan Pablo Montoya. I don't know which one I'm going to select yet. I think I'll probably go DC.
Well, I've gone with Sir Sterling for obvious reasons, but why not Max Verstappen?
That's a good idea.
He's still got a long time. I don't think it's fair to say Max yet. We don't know how good he will be. But yeah, so Sterling Moss, for obvious reasons, nearly won the championship on so many occasions.
Yeah.
Now, and he sadly passed away, of course, a few months ago. So just, awful news, really. But he's just a legendary driver, and he absolutely incredible, really.
Yeah, Freddie did a big 3-part piece on him for last lap, so I recommend checking out that. I put Sterling Moss, but I also noted down Gilles Villeneuve and Ronnie Peterson.
That's a good one.
Peterson's very good too.
Yeah,
Super Swede.
Just kind of Super Swede. Yeah, both killed. And I think a lot of people think they would have gone on, especially Peterson, to win. But I guess kind of just captured the imagination in a way that David Coulthard has yet to do. And
depends on your opinion of tight white trousers.
Taken before their time. And also just put down Massa because I think he's a nice guy. And he's like,
he got close.
It's so sad because he did deserve really to win in 08. He was probably better than.
But not in any other years.
Yeah, that's it. So I'm just kind of throwing him as a bit of a wild card. But not in terms of longevity of career. And then following on from that, the best driver to never win a race in F1.
Nice. Do you want to start this one off?
Let me see. I can't remember who I chose, so let me have a look.
Okay, I can go if you want.
Yeah, please.
Okay. I didn't really know about this. I put down Chris Amon.
Yeah, that's it. That tends to be the go-to.
Yeah, I kind of had a bit of a look around, and Derek Warwick, I remember him on Beyond the Grid, and talking about that, and I remembered that him being another name thrown around, but I don't really, obviously, I didn't watch either of them racing, but yeah, I think they said he got robbed or Amon could have won on kind of 6 occasions.
Yeah,
that he was
probably more
in the
to be
lead
honest.
and just lost it at the end.
Yeah, he had so many failures to Damon. He had a really rough time of it. I think he's one of the best pole qualifiers of the time, and never won. And it's really
Derek
sad.
Warwick.
Really sad that.
Derek Warwick could have gone to Williams Honda in 1983 or 5, and didn't, and he stayed at Renault for another year, and that just kind of obviously Williams took off and.
He could have been the Mansell. It's the could have been, isn't it?
Yeah, so there's him as well. But that's enough for me. Who did you guys put for that?
I've gone with Chris Amon as well. Oh, sorry, Freddie. I put Chris Amon as well. He's probably the unluckiest driver ever. Shout out to Martin Brundle as well. I think he got a few podiums.
Yeah,
I noted Martin Brundle and Chris Amon, but I've gone with Nick Heidfeld. Quick Nick.
Yeah.
I think he has the record for most podiums without a win.
Not Hulkenberg now.
Oh, he's not got any podiums.
Sorry.
I think Heidfeld's got something like 14 podiums without a win. And he came close on so many occasions, particularly with BMW. But that's it, really.
Yeah.
I think Nick Heidfeld, nice guy.
Yeah.
Got it.
He kind of went out. He was there as I started watching, and then kind of bowed out pretty early on.
He went to Williams.
Hasn't won in Formula E either.
Did he not win in Formula E?
He nearly did. He nearly won the first ever race, but then remember that last lap.
And Nico Prost rammed into him.
He's so unlucky. Shout out to Formula
E. Favorite overtake. I think this one will be interesting because
there's going to be
so many overtakes, or they used to be. But yeah, I will throw it out to whoever wants to go first on this one.
I've gone with the 1986 Hungarian Grand Prix PK on Senna, where he drifts round him like a rallycross driver, which I love, and that was incredible. So yeah, go and check that out if you don't know what I'm talking about. 1986 Hungary.
I've got a couple. I've got a decent short list. I like a cheeky overtake.
I thought we was only meant to choose one here. What's going on?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just speaking.
Freddie's just making up the rules. He discounted Sterling Moss from the never winning a championship one. He's got 5 options for some of them. He's just going here.
I think I've got. I think if you go into the details of my shortlist here, I've got about 7 options. Okay, I'll just.
What is going on?
Okay, no. Right. Okay, I've got one. Do you remember the 2015 Monaco Grand Prix?
The overtaken to the right under Portier.
Into
Portier, is it?
Saint-Avold, Verstappen on Maldonado into Saint-Avold on a move that one of my first moves that I've really gone with Formula. Like, what a move! And then later on in the race, so that was on Maldonado. Later on in the race, he was tucked up behind Vettel, and I really liked these moves. Vettel was lapping Bottas, so Bottas got out of the way, so Verstappen drove past. And then the same with Carlos Sainz. Verstappen just drove past these drivers as they were being lapped, and I loved that. It's not necessarily the most balls to the wall, insane move. It's not an Alonso on Schumacher at 130R, which is also an incredible move. But it's cheeky, and I like it.
Was that not the same race Hulkenberg did a move at Portier? Or am I thinking
Hulkenberg. Oh no, yeah, he did a move at Portier and Magnussen the year before. Hulkenberg in that race just drove straight into barrier in the first lap.
Well, funny you should mention, not Hulkenberg. Alonso, Japan, 2005, 130R, going around the outside of Schumacher. And I think, it's just kind of such a on-the-edge overtake. And you get a feeling of the speed of the cars in that, which you don't always, or a lot of the time you don't get in F1. But that one is just, he comes up, Schumacher goes to the left, and he just rings it all the way around him on the outside. And it's just a stunning overtake, but also kind of the symbolism that's of that, and kind of Schumacher. The Alonso coming through, taking over from Schumacher as the biggest driver,
the title holder.
Title holder in the sport. So I put down that one, which I think. But I think especially both of them, and the Mansell Senna one was kind of all over the internet.
The one at Hungary '89.
Hungary.
Yeah.
That
There's also that was PK Senna.
No, that's PK Senna.
Yeah. Sorry, that was.
There is the Hakkinen Schumacher Spa 2000.
That is the most overrated overtake in F1 history. It's so overrated.
I like it because I think it's quite sneaky.
Because he chose the right side.
I think it's sneaky because
It's not sneaky at all. Schumacher went left, so you logically go right. I'm sorry, I'm going to go on a rant. I did not get why people love that overtake so much.
I think it's because of the build up to it on the previous laps. You had Hakkinen got so close to doing it so many times. Schumacher was changing his defense all the way through, and then Hakkinen just basically went, "Well, sod you. I don't care if there's a back marker here. I'm just going to go for it. I'm going to go blind down the inside because of where Zonta was in the braking zone." Hakkinen just put his car there. Schumacher had no way of knowing that Hakkinen was going to go there. His assumption would have been, well, Hakkinen's got to tuck in behind me. I can use this back marker to defend. Hakkinen still went for it, went down the inside, and won the race.
Still think it's overrated.
I think it's good. Obviously, none of us have picked it. I think it's an honourable mention.
I don't think we ever kind of, when we have differing views on something, I don't think we ever actually convince the other person.
No, we never do.
But that's the fun of it. Moving on to the favourite.
And Ricciardo, China 2018.
Oh, Freddie, you can't just choose. I could go, Spain 2013, Alonso around the outside at turn 3 at the start on Hamilton and Raikkonen.
Rosberg on Verstappen, Abu Dhabi 2016 as well, because there was so much riding on it. And it's a good helicopter
moving
shot.
on.
Adam,
we are moving on to favourite innovation. And this was a bit of a tricky one because it's kind of...
I've only got one for this.
It's good. That's a surprise. There were a few... It's difficult kind of an innovation, what you pin it on, what you define as that. But I went for double diffuser just because it allowed the Braun story to happen, which I've already spoken about. But that's what I went for. Nigel, what do you go for?
I've gone for ground effect, which was first.
Ooh.
Well, the breakthrough was made by Colin Chapman, who was with the Lotus team in the 70s. It basically sucks the car to the ground and increases downforce, and I think that's just incredible, really. And we're going to see the return of that in 2022, hopefully, with the new rules, which might help overtaking because it doesn't. Yeah, I don't know how. I'm not that technical, but yeah, I've gone with ground effect.
Because the downforce is being generated from underneath the car, so the air is is already there, so it's not being disturbed by the car in front in the way that it's going over the top of the car to push it down. It's pulling the car down.
Yes,
with the skirt strapping. It makes a vacuum. The skirts on the side create a vacuum underneath the car, and then that means that it just sticks and goes around. And the cornering speed they banned them because the cornering speeds were so high.
Yeah,
they were racing in Monaco with no front wing.
Oh my word!
Yeah,
wow.
I've done that a few times online in F1 2018. But yeah,
if you finish the race on an online lobby in Monaco, you're going to get a result.
Yeah,
I've gone with 6-wheeled F1 cars, which
I thought the fan car.
Not necessarily the Tyrrell P34. The Tyrrell P34 is the famous one, but I think before they made it compulsory to have 4 wheels, Williams and March had developed it so the rear wheels were the small wheels. Yeah. So the Tyrrell P34 had a big wheel at the back and then 2 small wheels at the front, which allowed them to get more mechanical grip from the tyres, which is cool. That's good. They won a race with it with Jody Scheckter. But then March and Williams basically thought, well, if we put the small tyres at the back, then we don't have the air going over the top getting interfered with by a big bumpy tyre. And they were going so fast, and this is when March was a team, and basically before they just became before they became whatever it was, Leighton House. It was years before that, and yeah, it would have been a really groundbreaking car if it was allowed to race. Those two, the Williams I think FWA A08C, I think it is.
Yeah, that's it. And I think it was about frontal area as well for the Tyrrell, reducing that by having the small tyres. But yeah, I like ones like that, and as I said, the fan car is another one of that ilk.
Yeah. That Gordon Murray.
Yes, and I was going to give an honourable mention to the Cosworth DSV, the Cozza, which kind of became the F1 car, F1 engine to have for about 20 years. It was stunning. But
the last race the Cosworth engine won was in like the 80s, and the first race was in like the mid 60s.
Yeah, it's
fantastic.
Just longevity. So,
I love this sport.
Onto the favourite race and moment. I don't know if they're going to be the same for people. I tried not to, but in the end, I kind of did. So I went for no surprise at all to anyone. The Brazil 2008 and is that Glock moment of Lewis winning the championship. Massive Lewis fan, especially then. I'd been kind of heartbroken when he lost in 2007, and yeah, when he came back and won, it looked like it was all going to happen again in 2008, and then it didn't, and he did win, and that was stunning. So yeah, that's what I went for, and probably no surprises.
Yeah. Is this favourite race or favourite moment or both?
I both, but they don't have to be the same.
Oh, well, I think favourite race, I'm gonna have. Well, favourite race I've watched live is 2016 Spain, because both Mercedes taking each other out was a big surprise, so cool. And then Max Verstappen somehow holding on, even though it was his first ever race with Red Bull, having just moved from Toyota, so held off Kimi Räikkönen to become the youngest ever winner in F1. But I think personal favourite, like that, I didn't watch live because it was in 2005, was the Japanese Grand Prix, which we mentioned earlier. We saw the Adam's favourite overtake, Alonso on Schumacher, and Kimi Räikkönen storming through the field from 18th on the grid to win on the last lap by overtaking Giancarlo Fisichella, who I still don't know how he lost that race, because he had such a big lead, he had everything in his hands, but he managed to lose it anyway, and Räikkönen won on the last lap.
It's a great race. Both of those are great races.
Freddie,
Yeah.
yours?
My favourite race is probably Silverstone 2018, which is weird because it's quite a recent one. But I watched it back as well to kind of think about this, and it's the only race which I've watched back where I've got properly close to as hyped as I was watching the race. And this was the race where Lewis Hamilton got spun round at the start in front of his home crowd, and then the story of him coming back, finishing second is amazing, but also the final part of the race being something like 15 laps sprint to the end. Bottas, Vettel, Raikkonen, Hamilton fought through to second, Vettel took the win. These 4 cars all season had been close to each other. They were the 2 best cars of the championship, and Hamilton and Vettel were sparring. They were about 2 points in it on the championship going into that race. And you had these 4 cars in one camera shot for 15 laps going for the win, sprint. And I just loved it. I absolutely loved that.
Yeah.
Basically. And I was there, which kind of added to it, I think. But
Yeah.
It was good.
What
What
was your favourite?
Favourite moment sort of links into what Nigel said. It was the only moment where, like, one of the few moments where I've been properly speechless and I haven't known what to do while watching Formula One. And this is when the Mercedes took each other out at Spain 2016. It's awful. My favourite moment is a bloody crash. But
Yeah.
it's...
I forgot to say my favourite moment. We'll go on, Freddie. Finish off.
Yeah. It's just... I was just thinking... Because, like, Rosberg took the lead from Hamilton at the start on pole, which is pretty cool. But then I remember just looking... Excuse me, I swore. Damn it, I'll beat that. Oh man, Rosberg is bringing it over to defend what's going on, and then Hamilton ended up on the grass. I remember Crofty's voice going so high pitched and going, and Hamilton's on the grass, and he's had an accident. He's had a huge crash with Nico Rosberg, and they're both out. And then everyone's just there, just like, what's going on? What is going on? And this is like
Adam cried.
Big Nico Rosberg fan is Adam, and
Yeah.
He was definitely.
No, I wasn't.
I think Rosberg was pretty much on task to win his 5th race of the season then in a row.
Yeah.
And that would have been.
I didn't dislike Rosberg too much, to be fair.
I
wasn't a fan of Alonso in 07 because he was kind of the pantomime villain.
I wasn't a fan of Alonso in 2005 because he was beating Schumacher.
But yeah, I don't
Everyone
really
was beating Schumacher in 05. Anyway.
Yeah, didn't dislike Rosberg. He was a nice guy, and he's got a great meme now. So that.
Well, his career is over.
What we want.
So.
Yeah.
Nige, your favourite moment?
Yeah. I've gone Spain 2012 when Maldonado won. And then not in the race, but afterwards when there was a fire in the Williams garage and all the teams came together to put it out, basically.
Oh,
I thought that was a really, really nice moment. And
was
also, anytime, I know this is going to be a bit sad, but anytime a driver passes away and stuff and the drivers come together, I think that's one of the, just
Definitely.
Emotional.
I mean, Leclerc winning in Belgium would have, it's such a massive thing with Hubert passing away the day before. So, yeah. That's
the clap on lap 19 of that race made me cry. That was so good. That was such a brilliant thing.
Any other kind of special mentions or anything that people want to throw out?
2003 San Marino, you might not know this, but Michael Schumacher and Ralph Schumacher were meant to be racing, but the mother passed away after qualifying.
Oh, yeah.
And then they both went back to Germany, and incredibly, they came back on the morning, and, Schumacher went on to win the race, which when your mother has just passed away, I just find unbelievable. So I think that deserves.
Which is just amazing. They both of them, they were fighting for the win, wasn't it? I think.
Yeah.
Ralph and Michael, and it's just, well done, you guys. I mean, you'd have been absolutely fine to sit out that one.
Yeah.
So yeah, that obviously F1, its kind of image is the glitz and the glamour and the Monaco Grand Prix and all of that. But obviously it's got a dark side, kind of on the darkest side of any sport, kind of modern day sport. And that's kind of all part of what's made the legends and yeah, just all part of the myth and the story of F1. But as we've discussed, there are also a lot of happy memories and stories and just kind of brilliant heart in mouth moments over the 70 years of F1. And it's been really nice kind of discussing some of those with you guys and seeing kind of what your thoughts are on it, and what bits stand out to you, how that differs between different people. And yeah, kind of, I think that's been really interesting for us, and I hope it has been for people watching and listening at home as well. But that will be it for this episode. We'll be covering or reviewing the 70th anniversary Grand Prix at Silverstone, which isn't on live TV, free-to-air TV, like last week, which is a massive shame. But it will still be a very interesting watch/listen to the Grand Prix, and yeah, see how it differs, how it kind of mixes up a bit more this week. And we also done a podcast previewing or devoted to previewing that, so give that a listen when that goes up. That will be, or we'll say on our Twitter once that's gone up, which is at Winging It F1. And we've also got our own Twitters. So mine is at Adam Dickinson. Nigel?
At Nigel C. Journal is mine.
I just realised I said mine wrong. It's at Adam Dickinson 401. And Freddie, what's yours?
Mine's at FredCurse1999. Thanks for the interest, Adam.
That's all right. I'll go and give it a follow later.
Oh, cheers.
But yeah, tweets. And you can find us on YouTube and Acast and Spotify and Apple Podcasts. I've never done this bit before. It's normally Freddie. But those,
he's taken it from me.
Yeah, it's the only thing Freddie has left. But you can find us all there. And yeah, really looking forward to the 70th anniversary Grand Prix. But thanks everyone for watching, and bye for now.
Bye-bye.